Hello friends and fellow Chet pickers. I got a new little project today, and it's well, I say new, it's new to me, but it's kind of an old one. uh, I've always wondered what it might have been like being a young Chet growing up trying to learn how to play the guitar on an old Silvertone. And so I always had that kind of in the back of my mind to explore that someday, and wouldn't you know it, uh, well, I brought it back here to the shop to have a little closer look at this box. I have a feeling this was probably made in the 50s, maybe late 50s. It's, you know, it's similar. It's not an exact model to what Chet had. You know, it's in the Hall of Fame. But it may be as close as you can get nowadays in all practicality. It does have a spruce top. And you know, it's not a really bad spruce top either. It's a fairly decent one as far as spruce goes. And in size and appearance, it's pretty much, you know, looking at his old one there in the Hall of Fame, it's pretty much the same with a few maybe small differences. One being the peg head. I don't believe his had a name on it, you know, and it may have been shaped a little bit different from this, but other than that, you know, it's a spruce top box. And of course, it also has about a 1/2 inch action on it, as Chet described his had. So they've kind of lived up to their tradition on that, I guess. High action. Although this one here does not have any real bad structural problem, you know, with the neck heel. So I believe he had mentioned that someone had put a big screw into the heel of his neck trying to pull it back down. Of course, this one here doesn't seem to have any sort of damage in that department. I'd have to say it's maybe, as Silvertones go, maybe a notch or two above what you normally see as far as the wood quality and maybe some of the workmanship. But it does have that old hollow tone, which I love. And it's really, you know, kind of surprising the tone you can get out of one of these things. I mean, even in their state that they're in. But his Silvertone would probably have been in the late 20s or 30s, mid 30s, be my guess. And you know, you may never find another one of those. It's been too long, too many years. But this is probably a pretty close or close enough representation of what it might have been like, you know, growing up playing one of these old cheap guitars. You know, to really appreciate uh, where Chet came from, you know, and to really get into his style and how he maybe came to do some of the things that he did, some of the things that went into the making of his sound over the early years. You know, this is kind of an interesting journey, you know, to play one of these old boxes similar to like he had and would have played back then. And you know, your hand, you know, you get a feel of that sound with your ear and your hand. And I found it interesting, you know, to explore that little facet of Chet's sound, and maybe how that he came to play the way that he played, you know, and the guitar, I'm sure, had some part in it, you know, being very hard to play, and so it's kind of interesting, you know, to explore that a little bit. I mean, it's, you know, it's one thing to play a Gretsch. You know, we know that's going to work. It's going to sound great, and you're going to play better than you probably are, you know. But to take it in the other or the opposite direction and take what you know and apply it to one of these and see what kind of a sound you can make, you know, and course, our hero, Chet, we're always trying to play like him and make the sound, or try to make a sound like he made. And so I guess for me, this is just part of that journey that I never was able to explore before. And so it's kind of nice to visit, you know, and it doesn't, it doesn't do your fingers any harm either, playing one of these guitars with a high action. You really toughen up your fingers and you develop your muscles, and I haven't changed the strings on this guitar on purpose. These are the same old tarnished, aged, bronze, heavy strings, because I wanted to, preserve that sound, the old or the early or the dead sound, as it were, which you would have with old strings, to really get the flavor. What would it be like in maybe 1939 or 40, a kid trying to learn to play the guitar, and not just any guitar, one with very high strings and very big strings. Difficult, to say the least.